Welcome back to the Pig Trail Show. Courtney Mims joined alongside a very special guest. You know this guy, you love this guy. ESPN Arkansas's Tye Richardson joining us again on the show. Tye, how you doing this week?
Courtney, I'm fantastic. Fall camp kicks off this week, this Friday. Arkansas fans are juiced up. We're about a month away from Cincinnati. I can't wait.
Oh, I definitely can't wait. That's one that I think everybody has circled on the schedule now, especially because SEC Nation is joining Arkansas for that first week. That's got to be exciting too.
Oh, it's fantastic. And I know when they released that at SEC Media Days in Atlanta, people were pumped because you already knew a ranked team. And I know the polls have not come out yet, but Cincinnati is going to be ranked heading into this game. And we looked this up. I think the last time that you started a ranked opponent home was 2006 when USC, John David Booty and company came to town. So it's been a while. Now, that game did not go according to plan. It's okay in the first half, second half, not so much, but there's a lot of anticipation about this season. And if you couple that with a ranked college football playoff opponent and a really good coach in Luke Fickell, I think people are going to be fired up and getting there early for that 2:30 start.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. Let's talk a little bit. You just mentioned fall camp starting this Friday, August 5th. I know a lot of people are excited for fall camp to begin because then it really feels like football is just around the corner. And I know a lot of people are excited to see this Arkansas team in action. Is there anyone you're looking out for at fall camp? Anyone we should keep an eye on in terms of, watching their progression from last season to this season? Any freshmen you're watching out for? Any guys we should look out for?
I think you start with freshmen because that's what everyone always wants to know about. We got a chance this past week to go to Arkansas basketball practice, and that's what people want to know about. Hey, what freshmen are going to crack the starting rotation? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? Well, on the football side of things, I think you look at the wide receiver position, which is still a question mark for who's going to be those extra guys that are helping KJ out with the loss of Traylon Burks. Isaiah Satania is a name that a lot of your audience knows, an outstanding guy out of Fayetteville, has that track speed that you've been missing from this program in quite some time. Cannot wait to see him step on the field at Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium. Another Arkansas kid, Quincy McAdoo out of Clarendon. He's another guy, Sam Mbake out of, I believe, Georgia, if I remember that correctly.
Yeah.
Those are the three wide receivers, the young bucks that you're like, man, I can't wait to see what they can do at the University of Arkansas. And then the upperclassmen, I think a lot of people with Drew Sanders coming over from Alabama, hey, is this guy tearing it up like we heard about in the spring? Bumper Pool, Jalen Catalon, KJ Jefferson, you kind of know what you're going to get from those guys. Staying within the wide receivers, Jaden Hazelwood as well, the transferman from Oklahoma. It's really the freshmen and the transfers that I'm like really want to hone in on because I feel like you kind of already have reserved and expectations that are pretty solid for the guys you know about. But what can these transfers and wide receivers do in year one? We saw how pivotal the defensive line was transfer-wise. Courtney, what can these transfers do in their first year under Sam Pittman?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Everyone wants to see the new guys, the new faces. Obviously, Sam Pittman talked about at media days many, many times. He was asked about the wide receivers, who is going to step up for them in that position. No one can replace Burks, but do you think there's a guy right now you like to maybe be that guy or be the one that KJ can go to?
Well, I'm assuming when you came out of the University of Florida, you were heralded as the number one prospect out of college in broadcast journalism, like Jaden was out of the wide receiver. You guys probably share those similarities, both coming out of kind of the southeast corner of the United States. And when you have that number one next to you, there are such heightened expectations. And Jaden led Oklahoma in receptions last year. Spencer and Caleb Williams really spread the ball around. But Jaden has an opportunity. If I'm Jimmy Smith, I'm talking his former coach, who's now the running backs coach at Arkansas. I got a chance to see the Cedar Grove helmet in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Wow.
I'm telling him, Jaden, just go back to high school, man. It's a different vibe in the SEC, different competition, different opponents, but be a dog like you were in high school. He caught the game-winning state championship pass, and it was a post route that he just went up and just mauled that ball. He has all the attributes. He has stood out at times without I think he's dealing with the shoulder injury, but that's the guy that I'm saying I am just talking up so much in the offseason to say, hey, the ceiling, it's all there, man. We know you can hit it. Just go do your thing in 2022.
Yeah, and it definitely helps out when KJ says this summer, I've actually been working with him one on one, getting a better relationship with him. I think all that does is make you hype about seeing that combination on the field this fall, right?
Oh, yeah, it has to be. And I remember, I'll go back to another connection. I remember how excited I was. This was prior to your live arrival, Courtney. With Nick Starkel put out a video of him and Trey Knox just playing pitch and catch, and everyone got so hyped.
Love
And
it.
unfortunately, we saw what happened in the second year. Chad Moore's 2-10, but it's just these little snippets that people see of a wide receiver to quarterback, whether it's KJ to Jaden. Another guy that I am just super duper pumped to see him progress is Trey Knox, who's transitioned to
Yeah.
tight end and put on some good weight. He looks like a guy now that you line up 6'5", that he's just going to hit you. That key block in that Texas game that sprung KJ on a 4th and 2. He is going to be a matchup nightmare for linebackers and safeties and corners in the SEC. I cannot wait to see what the Blackman native out of Murfreesboro can do in his newfound role. I know he played a little bit last year, but he really looks like a tight end this year, Courtney.
Oh, he's huge. Yeah, you got to be excited when you look at that size and go, whoa, man, he is doing exactly what he needed to do in the offseason. We just talked about KJ, but at Media Days, it was also talked about, and I didn't know if it would be brought up or not, about a little bit of a quarterback battle going into fall camp. We all expect KJ to be the guy, but Malik Hornsby was brought up quite a bit at SEC Media Days. And Sam even said, look, if he's not the quarterback, we're going to have him on the field in some way, shape, or form. How do you feel about heading into fall camp with kind of that going on as well?
I think you still need to motivate your guys in the locker room, especially the quarterback position. There are probably some coaches that have said that about potential quarterback battles in the SEC, and they probably already selected their guy or have a good idea
Yeah.
who that one it is. But you don't want to call that before fall camp, because then the other guy loses focus. He's like, well, I'm not going to play, even though injuries happen like that in the Southeastern Conference. But I do think if you look at any one player, offensive or defensive, and you say, well, we don't truly know what this guy is going to bring or produce in 2022 because there's not enough tape on him at that in high school or at his other college transfer wise. There's certain guys coming in, like I think Drew Sanders is just going to be an absolute stud.
Oh, for sure.
Think some other guys on that defense are going to be key starters for this team. But Malik's one of those guys where you're like, man, could this guy has a little wiggle to him. We saw in the Texas game, we saw him run over a dude at the Texas A&M game, which he's not a frail guy, but he's not exactly big either. So if he can be versatile and be used in any way, and you think about some of the speed, him, AJ Green, we mentioned Isaiah Satania earlier. That's Courtney, the guy that I think has the most crazy projections of we have no idea what he's going to do, but it could be special.
Yeah, especially when you mentioned that speed. That was the one thing I did take away from that little snippet of spring ball that we got, is that this guy seriously has some jets on him. And I feel like Sam Pittman knows that just has to be used. That's talent that you can't just put out there. That's talent that is pure talent. And it has to be used in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, coaches will tell you sometimes it's not about having the best 11 position players out there. It's about having the 11 best guys on the field, or the 5 best basketball players, because if you're talented, it'll showcase itself in some way, shape, or form. And I would assume, could be wrong about this, that Malik's desire is to play quarterback at the college level. Maybe I'm not. Maybe his mindset has completely flipped.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what? I think I have more of an option at wide receiver in this league. And other guys, I think about a Matt Jones, who had a lot of success in college playing quarterback, but transitioned to wide receiver. We've seen this happen with quarterbacks before. Mm-hmm. Malik has, as you said, jets to him. And Arkansas has lacked. And you say, well, Tye, what about Treylon Burks? Treylon Burks was an absolute stud, had the breakaway speed. But I'm talking about like a Joe Adams, a Richard Smith, and Anthony Lucas, guys that they're leaving you in the dust. And whether it's, again, Isaiah Satania, who I'm hoping has a good year one, Malik Hornsby, maybe with some jet sweeps and some go routes. You just want to see that breakaway speed, because guess what? You know who had the best according to Pro Football Focus, deep ball in all the SEC. It
Ugh,
wasn't Bryce Young.
nope.
It was KJ Jefferson. That Think about that. Watch those plays. Watch the big throws that he had in the Missouri, Texas A&M, Alabama, on the money. Just got to get someone that gets open, Courtney.
Oh, for sure. Let's talk a little bit about the projections for this year. We've been seeing a lot of Arkansas players get on preseason award watch lists. That is awesome. Coming from SEC Media Days where they were voted to be finish third in the West. These are all great things that are going on preseason. It feels like Arkansas is getting the respect they definitely deserve this year. But even more than that, there's this sort of confidence around the program that I feel like is so nice to have, especially going into fall camp.
And what a better opportunity with this schedule. I mean, Alabama, Ole Miss, LSU, they're coming into your house. And you open up with them, as we brought up earlier, a ranked Cincinnati team. So, yes, there should be a confidence about yourself. You were 9-4 last year. You could have been 10-3 if you had gotten a 2-point conversion. And yes, you can flip it up on me and say, well, you could have been tied for 6th, I believe, in the SEC West. Very close, tightly contested division last year. It's going to be the exact same way this year. And while Texas A&M and Alabama have the better recruiting classes and what many would consider better NFL talent on their rosters, it's not always about that. And Arkansas right now, you look at the question marks they have compared to Texas A&M or Auburn or Ole Miss. You know where they don't have a question mark at? At the quarterback position, the most pivotal position on the football field at any given time. You want to point to one person why you should be confident about this season? He's wearing number 1. And you could say Jalen Catalon on one side, because I know he's the back-end quarterback for that secondary.
Yeah.
He's an All-American. And you can say that guy number 1 from Sardis, Mississippi, who decided to come play his college days in Fayetteville.
Oh, definitely. I love it. Just makes me so excited hearing you talk about this and getting ready for the season. The other thing I loved about SEC Media Days, and I know we've talked about this, it comes into play with that confidence and that attitude of like, yeah, we're Arkansas. Sam Pittman at Media Days was on fire. He was awesome. There was no other coach that got me pumped up like he did for college football, just hearing him talk. And even one reporter was like, hey, you might be the most liked coach in the SEC, possibly even the country. I agree with the latter part of that statement. He's definitely one of the most liked coaches in the country. How do you feel like that helps, especially even with, young guys coming into the program, recruits who are watching that going, man, I like this guy.
Yeah, Chris Marler of Saturday Down South was the one who was like, hey, coach, thanks for winning me some money. You're 16-6 in the spread last 2 years. And he just goes, go Hogs, which I thought was a great response from Sam. Likability is one of the most underrated aspects in any industry and business, in the doctoral side of things, in our field, broadcast journalism. I've been fortunate to work with some really talented people. I've known 2 of your compadres, Mike Irwin and Alyssa Orange, for quite some time.
They're great.
And if you are liked by not just your peers, but your competitors and the people that you deal with on a daily basis, your life's going to get easier. And what comes back to me over and over, and I need to be better about this. I'm cocky as you know what. I'm terrible. And some of it's a shtick. Some of it actually is just my ego getting in the way of what could make me a better person. My dad actually sent me the Bible verse the other day, a haughty spirit before the fall. Probably should look at that a little bit more. But Sam, he has the humble aspect to him and you heard it at SEC Media Days. You don't come to Fayetteville to play for the University of Arkansas. You come to play for the state of Arkansas. And he keeps saying, we're going to play blue collar football and be tough. Well, it's not just words. You saw it on the field the last 2 years. And now in year 3, in the best home schedule ever, 7 home games in Fayetteville. How can you not either one, buy season tickets, watch or listen to every game? I mean, you were just talking about my excitement for this season, Courtney. I don't know how I couldn't be excited about this season. There are so many good things happening for Arkansas football. And the best part, a lot of them are in Fayetteville, in your neck of the woods this year.
We are certainly excited about this season, Tye. We always enjoy having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us this week.
Absolutely, Courtney. Only a couple days away until we got fall camp this Friday.
Yeah, can't wait for that. Counting down to that day because then we know college football is right around the corner. We'll have much more Pig Trail Show coming up after the break. Stay with us.